Good evening, everyone. It is too few Lloyds and just enough Dakdoks. What do you think?
Hey, listen, you know what I did? I hide all my camel urine with paper like that. So when I drink my camel urine, people
we,
do
we
not know. Look, look, look. It look like it is. It look like water, but it is camel urine. And look, look.
that is.
I'm good now. I'm good. And
I'm
hello.
um, I'm happy for you, Usama. But I said a little prayer and asked for a miracle, and I turned the water into the drink into water just before. So
Hello, brother Lloyd. How are you?
hello
And
everyone.
greeting to all you wonderful audience. Man, oh man, we got a show for you.
Yeah, hello everyone, and welcome. And today, Usama and I are going to be talking about the Quran, and we're continuing our talk on Abraham and the search for Allah, which is, of course, as you know, according to the Islamic narrative, Abraham, are you a Muslim? No. Abraham hates you. What did you do? He taught the Muslims to hate you. And Abraham rejected Judaism. Abraham rejected Christianity, and of course, we're going to dive into the deep,
Brother Lloyd.
depressing, dark depths of the Quran today.
Now I
Well,
know you're Islamophobe because here in America we teach Abraham and Muslim. Abraham united the Muslims and the Christians and the Jews, the three branches of the Abrahamic religion. Abraham is the father of all the Jews and all the Christians and all the Muslims. We worship the same
and he
God.
said the Muslims will hate us for not being Muslims until the end times, until the
But
day of judgment.
But if you are the true Christian, then we're gonna love you. If you are the true Jew, then we're gonna love you. Because a true Christian and a true Jew, the one who
Isn't
worship one Allah alone, they are the true Muslims. And that's how we know that you need to become a Muslim, because you need to leave the falsehood which you believe in Judaism and Christianity, and come to the real. We got the real thing for you here. You know what I'm saying? That's the
and
only reason
this
why. Yeah, yeah.
and this is the shocking nature of Islam, the sheer blatant dishonesty that you see, that they're
What?
willing to lie openly, publicly.
Brother, brother, if my heart is to lead you to Islam, what difference does it make? I can lie, I can massage your neck and shoulder, I can put a knife in your chest. It doesn't matter as long as I'm leading you to Islam. You see what I'm saying? This is hello, welcome to
Yeah.
Islam.
You know what, Usama? We just spoke about this before going live or fair. But the interesting thing is, like, for instance, Apostate Prophet just announced on X that he was approached by Piers Morgan, right, by their team to bring him on, and then they abandoned him, they ghosted him. But he's spoken to other people that have been on Piers or that were contacted by Piers Morgan, and they were told not to talk about Islam. Piers Morgan will not talk about Islam. Now, Piers Morgan is known for not liking Jews, let's say, not liking Israel. He's known for his critical views, right? However, he also is known for bringing on anti-Semites, people who speak fondly of a little guy with a mustache and a certain salute, right? And even in myself, I mean, when you go through the Sharia, people that they seem to like the romanticized view of Islam, and they don't actually want to notice the ugliness. They don't want the truth revealed, even if it's true, but it's too ugly, so they won't talk about it. Even on X, I can't get Muslims to obviously engage with me, to come on with me and have these public discussions. They'll lie because they know they'll be exposed, and it's just even Christians, even people in leadership positions, people who should know better, are not willing to engage with the ugliness that is really at the root of Islam, and that I find is moral cowardice. I mean, how do we accept this? I mean, we know how bad it is, but how do we get other people to openly and freely admit and deal with the fact of its ugliness?
I think what we're not realizing, and I hope by now we figured out that we're working with the devil, Allah, and his people, those who believe in the false prophet of Islam, Muhammad. And if you think it is easy to bring him in to have a dialogue or discussion or a debate and expose everything they are about, well, good luck. You may get some naive ones who do not know too much about Islam, but the deeper they are in their belief about Islam and their knowledge of the ideology of Islam and the true history of Islam, the far away they're going to run from people like you. They don't want to be near you because then they're going to expose themselves. They have to join you, actually. See, that is the problem. To leave everything about Islam and become a Christian or become something else. And that's the last thing the devil wants them to do. So having a conversation with some guy who does not know jack about Islam, and jack is a word I learned from my buddy Adam Seeker. Yes, you'll find plenty of them. But to get a true Muslim, you have to be ignorant of Islam so they can talk with you. Otherwise, it's not gonna work. Like putting positive and negative together, boom, big explosion. It's not gonna happen. You need some negative Christian who does not know too much about Islam, and he will be talking to these people to use him to gain more land into the propaganda Islam. Or you're going to meet with somebody who does not know jack about Islam. You say, Allah said, oh, that's not what Allah said. Muhammad said, no, that's not what Muhammad said. You're taking this verse out of context. You misunderstand what you're talking about. You're ignorant of the topic. You're Islamophobe, and we don't believe in that. I'm a Muslim. I'm telling you, I don't believe what you're telling me. So it's like, it's a going in circle.
Yeah, I think also sometimes though they know and they don't want to face the truth. They don't want to be ashamed and embarrassed, so they avoid as well. So but just
And by the way, Lloyd, that's not just me and you. That is even with Muslims who left Islam. I love Muhammad Saleh, who always tell his people, he's used to be imam from Iraq and now live in Sweden, I believe. And he would tell them, are you a shameful Muslim? A Muslim ashamed of his Islam? No, no, I'm a Muslim Sunni. Okay, here. Allah said, oh, that's not true. Muhammad said, that's not true. He said, wait a minute. I am your imam. I used to teach you that, and you used to kiss my hand after I say what I say about it. Now I'm lying to you?
wow. Yeah. I mean,
Unbelievable. Unbelievable. So we'll do
incredible.
our best. You know what? Maybe they're not going to face us, but they're going to face God someday. Maybe they're not going to face the reality of how empty Islam is, but at least we're teaching our people and the Muslims who are interested to learn. I mean, we're talking about Prophet Abraham. I mean, you think about the 5 important prophets in Islam: Noah, Abraham, Moses, Isa, and Muhammad. And we're going to cover all these and the rest of the prophets, all of them. But we're talking about Abraham. And believe me, the more we read from their own writings, I'm talking about Ibn Kathir. What we're using here is the soft one, Ibn Kathir. I even go at Tabari. If I go to Tabari, it'll be twice as bad. I picked up Ibn Kathir because lots of Muslims say, he's 600 years after Muhammad. He's a little bit smart guy than Al-Tabari, who is a true Muslim, in my opinion. I think the
Islam
closer,
corrupts. Sorry,
huh?
go on, please. No, go on, please.
I was going to say, the closer you get to Muhammad, the real Islam is. Hermeneutics is what Muhammad said, what he meant by what he said, how he understood it and practiced it in his days, how he taught it to his people in his days, and then you can bring it today. You don't put 400 or 500 years before what Muhammad said, and you come up with a scholar 600 years later or 1,000 years later, or even the one who live with us today, and say, here, let me share with you what really Allah meant by what he said in the Quran. Forget about Al-Tabari, forget about Ibn Kathir. I will tell you the truth. I'm sorry, you don't know jack about Islam. The Quran is interpreted by Muhammad and people near him. So the closer we get to Muhammad, the better hermeneutics, the better understanding we can have for what Islam is. So this is the story of Abraham, as said by Ibn Kathir. I'm actually moving away from the real thing, but that's okay. And you will see that there is no logic, there's no common sense. It is foolishness. It is error. You,
Yeah.
as a Muslim believer, know nothing about Abraham. You know nothing about anything in the Quran
And
because your scholar.
corruption,
Yeah.
because everything that Islam touches becomes corrupt. It corrupts people, it corrupts principles, it corrupts morals, it corrupts law. Everything becomes corrupt. It corrupts history. It distorts everything it touches. Honey Badger says, I think my pet peeve is when people have not read Islamic material claim it's a matter of interpretation. Me as well. I find that very annoying. But notice then, if it's a matter of interpretation, then how does that person claim that their interpretation is valid? How do you know that the jihadi from ISIS, his interpretation is not valid? because then who's not the real Muslim if it's only about interpretation? So how can you say that interpretation is wrong?
But
So these people are clueless when they say that.
yesterday I was working with a friend of mine in Canada, doing some work on some of the things of the Quran, and he come up with 3 school of thoughts. The first one, you cannot. The second one, you can. The third one, you can, but there's 2 different opinions about when it is not. So, can you marry a minor? You cannot marry a minor. Yes, you can marry a minor, and it is by the will of her father or wali, somebody, or without it, if she's a virgin. A little girl, she's not a virgin. I mean, you think these are scholars? You
No,
don't.
these are
There's
people,
nothing
these
to
are
interpret in
self-serving
Islam.
individuals.
Yeah, but Brother Lloyd, if you don't have anything, if you don't have material, how can you interpret it? Nothing is written in the Quran about that. And they're going to interpret it? And you come up with 3 different schools of thought contradicting each other? Please. We're
Yeah.
no longer drink camel urine. We stopped that long time ago. Last time I drank camel urine was like 10 minutes ago, so I don't drink camel urine anymore. So we're above that. There is no scholars in Islam. There is no interpretation for the Quran because there is no Quran to interpret. I mean, what in Sharia fit with Allah or Muhammad? Nothing.
Yeah.
I mean, it's
Yeah.
amazing. They'll tell you, well, you cannot understand the Quran without the scholars of Islam. What scholar? What Quran? Do you have a Quran to read?
Yeah. I just want to just show from my talks on the Sharia. I know that you just mentioned it but it teaches in the Aqidah as well, in the creed of Islam, that Abraham hates Jews and Christians. Now, Abraham was the first Jew, and of course Christians weren't around then, but somehow Abraham hates both. You have already had a fair example in Abraham and the ones with him, as they said to their people, "We are quit of you. We are done with you. And whatever you worship apart from Allah, we disbelieve in you. And between you and us, enmity," which is translated as hostility, hatred, ill will, animosity, antagonism. I mean, this is in the Quran, Quran 60, verse 4. So Muslims, Allah says, you must hate those with the hostility, with the hatred, with ill will, with animosity. And this has appeared, and abhorrence, which means extreme repugnance, a loathing, an abomination, a disgust. So they should be disgusted with us forever until you believe in Allah alone. But of course, Abraham will ask forgiveness for you, but in no way is he associated with you. So therefore, he's not associated with Christians, and he's not associated with Jews. So this is really odd.
You know, I love about the Quran. Abraham was not a Jew, and Allah said why? Because Judaism came after Abraham. Abraham was not a Christian. We're going to get to it. And why? Because Christianity come after Abraham. But Abraham is a Muslim. You know why? Because Islam come after Judaism and Christianity. What logic we have here? You must be super stupid. I don't care if you drink a whole barrel of camel urine or even 5 barrels of camel urine mixed with heroin and cocaine and everything else and gasoline, oil, solid oil from underground, unpurified one. You could not come up with that stupidity of Allah in the Quran. The man was not a Jew because obviously Abraham was way, way before Judaism, before Moses. He was not a Christian because the man was way, way before Jesus, before Isa, son of Mary. But somehow he's a Muslim because Muhammad came after Judaism and Christianity. What logic that stupid Allah had?
There is no logic. And then also it teaches that as part of the doctrine of Islam, in the Aqidah, that after loving Allah and His Messenger, Allah obligates you to love those who love Allah. Remember, even Jesus says, what good is it that if you love those only who love you? Because even the tax collectors do that.
Not only that, prostitute does that. I always say that when I get that verse, I never see a prostitute hit a man who's having sex with her. She's a wicked, sinful woman in Islam. Prostitute, the lowest you can be. A woman, slut, sleep with men. She like her customer and she love her customer. If a prostitute and sinners can love those who loves them, what difference between a Muslim and Muhammadan and the rest of the sinful people?
Nothing. And Jesus speaks against that. And it says here that Muslims must hate those who oppose Allah and His Messenger. In case you're confused, if you're not a Muslim, that's you. Now, it says the Islamic belief system, the Aqidah, obligates Muslims to hate the people of shirk. If you believe that God is the Father, the Son, and the Holy Ghost, then that's you. And this obligation comes from the creed of Abraham, the creed we are ordered to follow. So Abraham ordered you to hate
it's amazing.
Jews and
Muhammad
Christians.
helped the Jews. Yeah, Muhammad helped the Jews and made them mushrikeen. Even though you cannot in any shape, way, or form to tell me that there is one Jew who is a mushrik. How did Muhammad make all the Jewish mushrikeen? He just simply lied. Quran chapter 9, verse 30. When he said the Jews said Ezra is the son of Allah, and the Nasara said Isa, son of Allah. And that's the end of it. He made a lie, a simple lie in the Quran in one verse, and from it, you make all the Jews, mushrikeen, worship more than one God, and you make all the Christian mushrikeen worship more than one God. When in reality, as we're going to see when we get to chapter on Isa, son of Mary, that the Islam doctrine about the Trinity of Christianity is a great level of stupidity. Allah does not know, Jibreel does not know, Muhammad does not know what Christians actually believe. And Allah does not know, and Jibreel does not know, and Muhammad does not know what Muslims, the Jewish people actually believe. So there is not mushrikeen among the Jewish people, and there is no mushrikeen among the Nasara, the Christian people. And somehow Muhammad just put one lie. And by the way, that is a sin which is unforgiven in Islam. You believe Jesus is God, or you believe Ezra is the son of God or God, it's over. I have to kill you. There's no forgiveness for it. There's no repentance for it.
Yeah. And how did Abraham say the Shahada? How did David say the Shahada? How did Jesus say the Shahada? If there's no Muhammad there to say the Shahada to.
Shanana, the Shanana?
The Shanana, yes.
The Shanana. You see, you never even taught me how to say it right. I've been saying it wrong since the last 3 months. I always
can
say
play the video later. Good night, sweetheart. Yeah, it's time to go home.
Shanana, Shanana. Yeah, I like it. I like it. I
Yeah,
like
yeah,
it.
no, it's we can play
Now I
it
dream
without.
of it. You know, I wake up in the middle of the night and Becky said, "What is wrong?" I said, do, and I do that. She think I'm crazy. She told me, "Don't talk to Lloyd anymore. Over. Stop talking with him. He's making you lose your mind."
I am Majnoon, she said.
It's the
Okay.
Majnoon. You know Majnoon. I love it. I love it. Let's go to Abraham, man. Let's go to Abraham. And hello again. Hello again to everybody. Let's see what Allah said about Abraham. We're going to learn great lessons from the great scholars of Islam, man. God help us.
Right. So there's this guy. I've got some guy's book here. I thought I would read a little passage out of it. Some guy called Usama Dakdok or something like that.
I like that name. I like it.
Yeah, no, the terror that flaps in the night. So anyway, he says Abraham and the search for Allah, and I can talk more about that later as well. Bring up some notes from the Sirah, which is quite fascinating. One of the stories written in the Quran concerning Abraham is from Quran 6:74. And Abraham says to his father, Azhar, or Terah as we know him, do you take Asnam for gods? Surely I see you and your people are in obvious error. So Abraham's father's name is in error. He was Terah, not Azhar. Second, his father and his people were idol worshippers, as was Abraham. Even the Jews blatantly and openly state Abraham was a moon worshipper. He was a Sabian. So what was Abraham worshipping? So far, nothing. The story continues. Quran 6:75. And likewise, we did show Abraham the kingdom of the heavens and the earth, that he might be one of the certain. So when night covered him, he saw a planet, and he said, "This is my Lord." And when it set, he said, "I do not love the setting one," because
let's stop it for a minute. How old do you think Abraham was there? Was he like 2.5 years old?
20, I don't know.
No, have he ever been outside the tent before that night?
No. You don't know, because back then you couldn't leave the tent until you were 21.
Oh, so he was below the age of going outside. Seriously, my dear Muslim friends, we're reading the word of Allah. The great level of stupidity by Allah in these writings, it's beyond me. I don't need scholar anymore. I quit. If that is a real God, and these are the word of real God, and these are the real thought or process of thinking of a man by the name Abraham, that man is crazy. That man he must have been living inside the tent under a huge rock, not just inside the tent. Lloyd, forget about the tent. That tent must be put on the top of a huge rock that he never saw anything but the rock. All the years of his life, he go outside and he sees that star, and he worships the star, and he said, "This is my Lord." And then the star disappeared. Have he ever thought before that night that star disappeared when the morning
No,
shine?
it was brand new to him. He was like, "Oh my God, those stars, they go away. Is that daylight? What is this brightness in front of me? I have no idea, but it goes away. The gods are gone. Oh my gosh." He was shocked
So,
and surprised. He'd never seen
so
daylight
that
before.
so that planet, it was the first time, and Abraham first time to see that planet in the sky, and he worshiped it, and he did not know. He's have zero idea that somehow in the morning you're not gonna see it.
True story.
Brand new for me. Okay, now I believe in the Quran. Okay, now I believe in the Quran. Go ahead.
Yeah, so this was the first time that he looked up into the heavens and he saw the sun, the moon, and the stars. So he was surprised they went away at night or during the day or whenever it was that they disappear.
What come first? What comes second? Okay.
So he sees a planet and he says, "This is my Lord." And since he did not worship idols, he would not have called the planet Lord. Afterwards, the story continues by stating that the morning came and the star disappeared, and then Abraham realized the planet could not be his Lord. The sun rose.
He realized for the first time in his life, because that was his first time to be outside, and it's gonna get worse as we keep going. But go ahead, keep going.
So he chose not to love it or to worship it. In verse 77, it seemed as if it was the first time in his life that he had seen the moon. So when he saw the moon rising, he said, "This is my Lord." So when it set, he said, "If my Lord does not guide me, I will surely be of the erring people." So according to the Quran, because he saw the bright moon, he said, "This is my Lord." So this was Abraham worshiping the moon all night and praising the moon, saying, "You are my Lord, because there you are in your chariot riding across the sky." But then the moon set and his dream was shattered.
Oh, I can't believe this has happened to me again yesterday. That planet I worship all night disappeared, and now the moon disappeared. Now, let me ask a question before we get to the sun. Was there any sun between the planet and the moon? I mean, during these hours, was he went back in the tent under the rock and he hid until the evening? I mean, what happened? Did he saw the sunlight when the morning shine? When the light and the no.
These are the see, you need to understand Allah moves in mysterious ways. And these are the mysteries that are not revealed to us, because those are only written on Allah's tablet in paradise. And unfortunately, it's the edited version we have here on.
And like so many Muslim scholars would tell you, if Allah wants us to know, He would have put it down there in the Quran. But He does not want us to know, so we just have to. That is the beauty about being a Muslim, to be a submitter. You submit to the will of Allah and don't argue, don't ask, don't tell. It's over. Go ahead.
Yeah, in fact, it says so in the Sharia very blatantly that Muslims are to accept with total faith without requesting evidence. I mean, we know this already from the Hadiths and the Quran and so on, as people have spoken about it, but it's actually explicit in the Sharia, as I've spoken about on the channel. So then he sees the sun and he says, "This is my Lord. This is bigger. Akbar. This is bigger."
Allahu Akbar! Allahu Akbar! Ash-Shamsu Akbar! Yeah.
Yep. But then it set. The sun set.
Oh my world! Are you serious?
It did.
Where did the sun set? In the muddy spring?
Muddy puddles. Yeah, in a hot muddy puddle by people who are dark, who live behind a big metal wall that
God and my God video. I remember that. Yeah, we're gonna get to it. MashaAllah, MashaAllah.
And so he said, "My people, surely I am innocent of what you partner." Yeah, I'm not going to go with the whole sun god thing. I'm not doing that.
Nope.
So did Abraham really say this to the sun, that it was brighter, it was bigger, and that he missed it yesterday? When the night came, the sun disappeared. He did not realize it would get dark later and the moon would come back, right? So when it got
maybe
dark,
he changed his mind. Whoa. Maybe he can change his mind, worship the moon. I know it is asghar, it's smaller, but at least it came back.
There's that.
Yep,
so within one day, one experience of seeing the sun for the first time, Abraham stopped worshiping the sun and the moon. And he turned his face to worship the creator of the heavens and the earth, and he became a Muslim. In other words, he followed Muhammad. Right.
MashaAllah. No, but here is the answer. Here's the answer of the moderate Muslim of the 2025, the year 2025. When Allah said Muslim here in that verse, Allah is talking about submission, not the belief in Muhammad, but the worship of the one true only Allah and the submission to the one true Allah. This have nothing to do with Muhammad. But wait a minute. Do you know what Muhammad said? When Muhammad went to the Aqsa Mosque or the further mosque, we're going to talk about later, of course, he actually said he stood there to pray towards Mecca, and Abraham was behind him. Prophet Isa was behind him, and all these prophets behind him, and they all worship and praise the Muslim prayer, Brother Lloyd. Abraham prayed, Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar. Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen, Ar-Rahman Ar-Rahim. He actually quoted the Quran in his prayer. So obviously Muslim was Abraham. As a matter of fact, Adam, the father of all the Muslims, he was a Muslim. Remember when Adam was walking in the garden and he saw written in the sky, there is no God except Allah and Muhammad is the messenger of Allah. And Adam asked Allah, I know there is no God but you. Who is that Muhammad? I see his name in the sky. And Allah said, because of Muhammad, I created you. So obviously Adam was a Muslim. And in Islam, when the sperm come from the backbone of a man and have intercourse with his wife and she get pregnant, the babies are born Muslims. If the father with the original backbone where the sperm go down is a Muslim. So obviously all people are Muslim. You know that if you leave your children and my children, don't tell them anything about Jesus, don't brainwash them with this Christianity and Judaism and whatever, they will grow up to be Muslim. They will actually say Allahu Akbar. They will say the Shahada on their own. So the idea is that Abraham was not a Muslim, meaning believe in Muhammad, is a garbage lie from the bottom of hell. He was a Muslim. He believed in Muhammad. So is every other prophet. Go ahead, bro.
Yeah. Someone's saying when they shout Allah is bigger when something bad happens, which is strange. Allahu Akbar is in the Middle East. It's an all-purpose phrase. If something bad is happening, they'll go Allahu Akbar, because they're pleading for the thing to turn around. And when it's good, then they'll be screaming, yeah, Allahu Akbar. You know, because
I love it when you see Shia and Sunni in Iraq and Iran, for example, for 9 long years, they both shout Allahu Akbar as they were killing each other. With the shout, yeah, Allahu Akbar, takes the airplane down, took the bomb somewhere, and bunch of these, thousands of these, and a Muslim Sunni mosque blow up and a Muslim Shia mosque blow up, and they both shout Allahu Akbar. Somehow, I don't know which Allahs they're talking about. It cannot be Akbar in both sides. Anyway, go ahead.
Well, I just want to show everyone that in the Sira, so if I can make the diversion here. So Salman the Persian told the apostle that his master in blah blah told him to go a place in Syria. There was a man who lived between 2 thickets. Every year, as he used to go from one to the other, the sick used to stand in his way, and everyone he prayed for was healed. And remember, this is around the time of Muhammad. Okay, this is the time of Muhammad. And there was a man in Syria who used to heal people. The people came to him with their sick, and everyone he prayed for was healed. And then he asked me, as I came back, he said, God have mercy on you. Tell me about the Hanafiya, the religion of Abraham. And he replied, you are asking about something men do not inquire of today. The time has come near when a prophet will be sent with this religion, the religion of Abraham, the Hanafiya, from the people of the Haram. Ooh, go to him, for he will bring you to this religion. Then he went into the thicket. And the apostle said to Salman, if you have told me the truth, you have just met Jesus, the son of Mary.
Even Muhammad was confused, man. Even Muhammad was confused. Everybody's confused, not just the scholars of Islam. Muhammad himself is confused.
Yeah.
MashaAllah.
And what happens is all of these, so 4 men set out on a journey to find the original religion of, according to the Sira, 4 men set out on a journey to find the original religion of Abraham. And of course, they find it, and then Jesus tells them that Abraham rejected Judaism, Abraham rejected Christianity, and therefore but they will find a man called Muhammad who will lead them to the true religion of Abraham, which is Islam.
Look for the. Can you read for me what Hanifan said there?
This is in
Hanifan.
the Encyclopedia of Islam,
I know. I want you to
which
read
is,
it. If you don't mind. Yeah,
and it
go ahead.
says Hanif, plural, Hunafa, oopsie. In Islamic writings, it is one who follows the original and true monotheistic religion, which is Islam. In the Quran, Hanifa is used especially of Abraham, and occasionally Islamic usage is the equivalent of Muslim, and
Okay.
Hanafiya is the religion of Abraham or Islam.
Hanafiya is an Arabic word which means it is a faucet you open so the water can come down in your kitchen sink or in your bathroom sink. That is Hanafiya. But anyway, I'm not joking. That's the real meaning for the word Hanafiya. But why in the world? Why in the world? For hundreds of years, 1800 years before Christ, and after 600 years until you get to Muhammad, that is 2200. I'm sorry, 18 and 6 is what?
1800 years ago. I mean, he died, what, 1670, 1680 BC? So that's
but
1680 plus another 2000, so that's 3600 and
I want to
3700 years ago.
Yeah, brother, I'm trying to get from Muhammad to Abraham. 1800 plus 600, that make it 20
years, yeah.
24. Why in all these hundreds of years, nobody ever, scholars, historian, Jewish historians, Roman historians, Christian historians, Greek historians, ever wrote the word Hanifan? Why, when Muhammad invented that word and put it in the Quran, now we learn about it? Imagine with me, a book is called the Quran. An empty book. There's nothing in it. An empty book. Somehow, we leave everything in the Bible, everything in the writing of true historians, true scholars, Judaism and Christianity, and somehow we got the word Hanifan in the Quran. Why we cannot find Hanifan in the Bible? I mean, do you know how much we have about Abraham in the Bible? I can tell you everything about Abraham in the Bible, from time of birth until he died. And I know where he was buried. In the Quran, you know nothing about Abraham. Trust me. Let me say it again. Maybe you didn't hear me. Trust me. You don't know jack about Abraham. But somehow we got Hanifan. And we know it's actually a Muslim.
We know for a fact. Because the Quran says the Quran is true and it's in the Quran. And you can check the Quran if you need the facts.
Yeah,
and the Quran verifies the Quran, because we know the Quran is the word of Allah.
Brother, you could not give me the name of his father right. You could not write one sentence about him in the entire writing of the Quran is accurate. Scholars disagree about everything about Abraham. And you tell me the truth is in the Quran? MashaAllah. I literally have to put not half of my brain out of my head. I have to take 99.9 out of my brain, out of my head. I just want to leave 1% so I can remember my name is Usama. Besides that, I don't know nothing, so I can accept this BS Islam. Go ahead.
Yeah. I mean, there are villages still in Turkey that are named after the family of Abraham. I mean, some of that history is still left there in that part of the world, near Haram.
Must be true. Amen. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so let me see. So he turned his face to Allah, who created the heavens and the earth, Hanifan, and I am not of the polytheists. Okay, great. Immediately, Abraham began his mission as a prophet to his people to lead them to the true Allah. So Muhammad is the first prophet of Islam, because no prophet had been sent with Islam to lead people to Islam before Muhammad, except for Abraham, who was a prophet of Islam.
We have to ask the question: how many first in anything? I mean, literally, if you think about, if you do a study in Islam about the first, you find there is no second. They're all first. I mean, think about it. Ishmael is the first man who spoke the Arabic language, and he learned it from his first wife, and he learned it from his second wife. So his first wife family was the first people who speaks Arabic language. His second wife's family is the first one who spoke Arabic language. And so Abraham is the first Muslim, and Adam is the first Muslim, and Muhammad is the first Muslim, and Isa is the first Muslim. And
Khadija was the first Muslim. Don't forget.
Who?
Khadija was the first Muslim.
It must be true. Yeah.
Yeah, and Adam was the first Muslim. David was the first Muslim. Abraham was the first Muslim. They all
They
taught
don't know.
Islam.
See, these people never been to school. They don't know there is something. It's called second and third and fourth and fifth
And
and sixth.
the prophets taught Islam. That's why the Jew came along, changed the Bible, and took out every mention of Islam.
Must be true.
Yeah,
I
for sure.
concur.
They
I concur.
changed all the copies of the Bible, and they removed. So yeah, so Abraham began to dispute with the people, and his people disputed with him. And he said,
But
"Do you
why?
dispute?"
Why we don't read any of this great prophet Abraham in the Bible? I mean, where in the Bible that God told Abraham, preach to people, and he searched and saw the sun and the moon and the planet and the stars, and he became a Muslim, and he started teaching his daddy, Daddy, don't you dare, Daddy, worship these idols. Daddy, you don't know what you're doing. And the rest of the nonsense, fairy tale, myth we read in the Quran. Why can't we see any of this, any of it in the Bible? When in reality, the Bible teaches the opposite. If we go to Genesis, as we're going to do it, I found that Abraham, his father, obeyed God, and they were going to the promised land. And on their way to the promised land, his father died, and he was buried in Haran. And move on with the real biblical account, not the nonsensical teaching of the Quran, which scholars disagree about everything about it. Go ahead. Go ahead.
Right. Yeah. So he says, "Do you dispute with me about Allah? And indeed, He guided me, and I do not fear what you partner with Him, unless my Lord wills anything. My Lord embraces all things in knowledge. Do you not remember?" Like, they don't even know. How can they remember?
Do you not remember? Have you not seen? Have you not witnessed? I mean, these are stupid questions, oratorical questions all over the Quran. Imagine when somebody in the Quran said, have you not seen when Allah created? Oh, see, no one saw the creation. I mean, when you ask somebody, have you not witnessed? Witness what? The creation of the sun and the moon and the star. Was there any people there? Was any of the people Abraham is talking to, or Muhammad is talking to, or Noah is talking to, or somebody is talking to? If any of these people were there to see creation, that means the story of the creation is a myth, because creation took place before Adam, and Adam was the last one who was created. So nobody have seen it. Why Allah asked these stupid questions? Have you been a witness? Have you seen creation? Or hear what he said here?
Yeah,
What did he say?
it's so, it's cheap. This is cheap rhetoric. This is cheap logic. And no, Artsy, you're right. I don't remember the things I never learned. I was African education, man. It's pretty bad. Usama comes from Africa too, and he's probably got the same problem. You also have to take off a shoe if you need to count to 15.
Believe me, Muhammad does not know how to count, period. I can show you
This was asking also, how come you have to revert to Islam if you were born a Muslim? Yeah, but technically your parents lead you out of Islam because you're born, but also don't forget, at a deeper level, your soul is made from the spirit of Muhammad. So the soul of Muhammad was divided into tinier and tinier pieces, and the prophets are made out of the soul of Muhammad, and of course, so is your soul. You are literally, your soul is made of the substance of Muhammad, which is made of the substance of Allah. And therefore your soul is a Muslim because you are partly Muhammad, and therefore
you're a Muslim, but you don't know it.
You don't know it. It's messed up. This is messed up theology. So, yeah. So, my Lord embraces all things in knowledge. Do you not remember? And how should I fear what you partner, and you do not fear what you partner with Allah? What He did not send down on you with authority.
Let's stop for a second. If Abraham is really believing in Allah, will he make a statement such as that? It's like a children talking here. I will not fear what you worship unless because you don't fear what I worship.
I've just called it toddler logic. Literally, I've just called it toddler logic.
That's a perfect word. Little children. What is toddler? What is the age of toddler? Like what? How
under a year? I mean, 2 years old. They're just learning to walk, right? The toddler is just learning to walk.
Now I know why Muslims are Muslim, because they're toddler. That's a new word for me. Toddler. I need to remember that. Toddler faith, toddler talk, toddler everything.
Toddling is like you're falling over. You're trying to walk and you're falling over. So, and he says, yeah. So which of the two groups are more worthy of security if you were knowing? Oh, yeah.
This is the guy. Listen. This is the guy who did not know that the moon disappeared in the morning. He did not know that the sun disappeared at night. He did not know that that planet. I mean, that is, we talk about Prophet Abraham. One day and one night, everything changed. He's actually quoting the Quran for us. He's speaking the written word of Allah on the guarded board 50,000 years before creation. He's reading it right now because Allah knows 50,000 years before creation of Adam that Abraham will do all these things and he will become a Muslim and he will be saying these words word for word. So Abraham is quoting to us the
cheap
Quran.
psychology. I mean, this is cheap psychology. This is it's offensive to me. It's just, yeah. So those who believed and do not mix their faith with injustice, those have security and they are guided. Yeah, those who listen to me. Just 3 days earlier, Abraham had rejected his father and his people's gods and worshipped a star. On the following day, he worshipped the moon. Then the next day, he worshipped the sun. Then a few hours later, he was the prophet of Allah. So in verse 683, Allah ends the story by saying, and this is our argument we gave to Abraham against his people. We raise up in degrees who we will. Surely your Lord is wise and knowing.
I think he's not. The word wise does not fit with Allah, period. And knowing, I can guarantee you, we can do a good discussion with our Muslim friends to show them where in the Quran Allah know anything. Just share with me where in the Quran Allah knows a thing. Because all over the Quran, Allah does not know. If Allah used perhaps, it's over. Imagine Allah, the God of Muhammad, the God of perhaps, and He is all-knowing. Yeah.
Yeah, kind of. Well, I mean, okay, so he doesn't know that Noah actually had a little boat, and he doesn't describe the boat or mention the boat, discuss the size of the boat. He doesn't know that Muhammad had wives, and he doesn't name them. He makes a lot of mistakes, but he would have told you if you were deserving of knowing.
Yeah. I like Isaiah, the one who sits on the circle of the face of the earth. That was 700 years before Christ. But 1300 years later, Allah does not know the earth is circle, a sphere, and the moon and the sun and all this is floating out there. And we are circling around ourselves on that earth once a day, around the sun once a year. And Allah does not know that. Somehow Allah, the all-knowing, does not know simple facts which the true prophets of God in the Bible know about for hundreds of years before Muhammad was a gleam in his father's eye. But let's move on. Continue. Ibn Kathir, brother.
Right. So Ibn Kathir, very famous scholar, stated that the whole story of the whole sun, moon, star thing was just a lie, created by Abraham and Allah to lead the people to worship the true God, Allah. Okay. He continued to say the act of worshipping the stars was the practice of the people of Abraham in Haran. Fortunately, however, in Quran 21:52, we discover that the father of Abraham and his people did not worship stars. Instead, they worshipped statues. As when Abraham said to his father and his people, what are these statues that you are devoted to?
So you see, the lies are forgetfulness, and that is the problem with Muhammad. He made a lie about Abraham people and his father, and he moved a little bit later, and of course, there's few years between that verse and this verse. So now Muhammad could not remember what he said earlier, and he just made these statues. What does it mean? Is it stars or statues? They're two separate things, Brother Lloyd.
Words were different back then. For instance, the word has evolved. It used to be statues, right, with an R before the T, before the second T, statues, which was a word that meant stars and statues. But we don't have those words anymore. But you can,
yeah.
But it's true story.
I know it's true story. You always tell me true story, man. I never heard you say anything about Islam except it is true.
Well, I mean, look, the Quran says the Quran is true, and I don't want to get blown up. Do you?
No.
Because Islam's a religion of peace, and as long as you behave, it's that they won't blow you up.
Absolutely. So, yeah. Let's continue. Ibn Kathir is the answer, man. Ibn Kathir got it right. It's in the book. Read it. I'm telling you, he got it right.
If they were devoted to these statues, they would not also worship the stars? So in verse 53, not only were they devoted to the statues, but their fathers were also. And it says, we found our fathers serving them. So they worshipped statues. Okay, now we're the stars. These statues were later broken by Abraham, except for the biggest one. So he made them pieces, except the biggest of them. Of course, if you go in the Sirah, if you go in the Sirah, Muhammad does not destroy them. What Muhammad does is he takes a stick and he points the stick at the statues, and the statues of their own volition, Muhammad says a thing, and then they all fall down and break themselves. That's actually what it says in the Sirah.
But I need to emphasize on something, Brother Lloyd. Ibn Kathir said Abraham did not worship the stars. He did not worship the moon. Okay, he did not worship the sun. But this is what he made up in his preaching in action to let these people realize that they're worshiping the false god. The Quran did not say that. I mean, how can when Ibn Kathir teaches the opposite of what is written in the Quran, he's a scholar, and when I read the Quran, I'm not a scholar. Let me say it again. If I read the Quran, I misunderstand the Quran, I misunderstood the Quran, and I'm taking the Quran out of context. All I'm going to do is I'm going to open the Quran, and I said, Quran chapter 5, verses 22 to 26, and I read the 4 verses. And I sit down, I zip my mouth, I don't say a word. So the Quran speaks for itself. And when I do that, Muslim will tell me, you're taking this verse out of context. What verses? We understand what you're trying to do, what I'm trying to do. We have our scholars to interpret the Quran. You're not qualified. Okay, I got you. Okay. Now, when we read the scholars and they deny what is written in the Quran and they make up a pure lie to say that Abraham did not worship. Allah said he worshipped. And you tell me he did not? And somehow Ibn Kathir is right. And for me to read the Quran, I'm wrong. Can you help me out with that, please? Help me out with that, bro.
Look, are you a Muslim, Usama?
No, I'm not.
Then you're wrong.
Oh, okay, I got it. I understand now. Makes sense.
I'm glad I can help. I just want to mention that when I spoke of, I don't have the story right now of Muhammad pointing the stick like Harry Potter at I'll try and find it, at the statues, and they all fall and they break on the floor. But here's one from the Hadiths. The sword of Ukasha bin Mihsan was broken on the day of Badr, and the Prophet gave him a piece of firewood, a stick, and it was shaken, and it became a sword. That's an actual hadith. It's like, but of course these guys go and say, well, actually, it's a very popular story, but it's unproven because it's, it's just one of those fake things that
sometimes a strong hadith, they get sick and they become weak. I mean, like people, hadith is like people. Sometimes you're strong, sometimes you're sick, and you get weak and you die. So hadith, sometimes they're strong and sometimes they're weak. Depends if Muslims want to use them to say what they teach, whatever the hadith said. If the Muslim need it, it's strong. If the Muslim do not like it, it's weak. Same hadith. Okay, so move on.
Yeah. Actually, let me see if I can find the Harry Potter one. Here we go. Actually, I just found it.
You know what? I'm very interested about seeing that because I've not seen it before, but I've seen worse than that and other things.
No. So this is In the Life of Muhammad the Prophet by Sayyid. Oh, 3 of them in a row.
Father, son, grandson. They love the name Sayyid.
Yeah. And this is actually from the Sirah. So it says, any idol near which the Prophet went and towards which he pointed his cane, and this is a true picture. This is a genuine photo of Muhammad doing it. I have it right here. This is taken from an early diesel iPhone from Muhammad's day. Genuine early diesel phone picture. And right has come and falsehood has vanished. Verily, falsehood is destined to vanish. Quran 1781, he would quote. And the idol fell headlong on the ground without anyone touching it. Yes.
That is what is written. Whoa. That is what is written in Quran 1781.
True story. True story.
No,
if you guys want to find more, and if you want to find this, you can see this.
Wait a minute. I think you're lying. 1781. Let me read it. Let me read
1781. Yeah, let me. I can.
I'm sorry, the verse does not say that.
Okay, let's have a look. 1781 in the.
Brother, trust me.
Now, I got a resource from a guy called Usama Dakdok, and say the truth. and say the truth came and the vanity has vanished. Surely the vanity was vanishing. And the cat in the hat sat on the mat, and the mat was a
And
cat.
let me
The
read to
mat
you
and
the
a cat.
interpretation. No, to make it easy, here we go. I'm going to read to you. What scholar do you want me to read the interpretation for? Let me start with Jalalain, the smallest one.
Okay.
Listen. وقل عند دخولك مكة, and say when you enter Mecca, جاء الحق, the truth has come, which is al-Islam. وزهق الباطل, and the vanity is banished. بطل الكفر, infidelity ended. إن الباطل كان زهوقا. That is just quote the verse. مضمحلا زائلا وقد دخلها صلى الله عليه وسلم, and Allah's prayer and peace be upon him, when he entered it, he meant Mecca. وحول البيت 360 صنما, and around the Kaaba there was 360 idols. فجعل يطعنها بعود في يده, so he started sticking a piece of wood in his hand inside them. ويقول ذلك حتى سقطوا, and he was saying that until they all fall down. Okay. رواه الشيخان. Sahih Muslim said it and Sahih Bukhari said it. What he was doing, imagine with me. Here's a rock. Here's idol. Okay, it's on the Kaaba. 360 of them, and Muhammad used a piece of wood to make him like that to fall. They did not banish means broken to pieces and a fly. They fall off. Here we go. Let me show it to you again. You see it? Here's a statue standing, and Muhammad with his stick. Bush.
No. He went like this with his stick, and the magic, this thing fell over without being.
You mean you know better than Al-Jalalain? You're smarter than Al-Jalalain?
Yeah, but Sayyid. I mean, this guy's a triple Sayyid.
Sayyid. Now, do you want to waste another hour or two to read to you the list of the scholars?
No. I mean, look, the audience. You guys, look, I mean, you are obviously being convinced by this now. This story is starting to resonate with you. You can feel the truth just seep into your mind. And you go like, oh my God, I didn't know this about Muhammad. This is incredible. And you guys want to say the Shana now, right now, don't you?
Yeah, it's the perfect time now. Right now you can do. Al-Qurtubi said the same thing, except he's talking about Isa, son of Mary. When he comes, he will break the cross and he will kill the pigs. And he will... you know what? I'm wasting my time. Let's go back to our side.
Yeah, no, I mean, so someone has written a verse just like it. Someone wrote a surah just like it. The cat on the bat that was fat ate a tomat.
MashaAllah.
They're inspired by Allah right there.
So it was another miracle. I mean, that is, if Muhammad can do what you're telling me with the whatever he said in whatever, so that's another miracle, man. Even though Allah said, as we're going to see on Saturdays, that Muhammad did not perform any miracle. I don't know. Maybe it's a miracle Allah forgot to mention. But go ahead.
So the long story of Abraham is found in Quran 19, 21, 26, 29, 37. In Quran 19:41, we see the interaction of Abraham with his father and his people's gods. And we remember in the book Abraham, surely he was a friend, a prophet.
No. When you say I remember in the book, what book are we talking about? The Bible, okay? Genesis account. Can you share with me any of that lies, these lies you're going to read to me in the Quran, mentioned anywhere?
The Bible was corrupted.
God, the Bible has been corrupted and the Quran is still the truth. Yeah, I'm sorry, I forgot that. You have to remind me once in a while.
We remember in the book, and maybe it was the Injil, because the Injil is, I mean, lots of scholars, I'm sure, must have mentioned the Injil. You know, people in that region, there must be surviving fragments of the Injil. There must be some kind of record in history, archaeology, some kind of quotation from the Injil by other scholars, historians of the period that mentioned it. Maybe that's
Brother Lloyd, how can the book which Abraham is talking about here is being corrupted and changed? And when in the Quran, in chapter 10, verse 94, I believe 1094, Allah is assuring us that the Injil and the book, the Torah, that story of Abraham is 100% accurate. And if Muhammad was doubting his Quran, which you're reading from right now, he needs to check with the Jewish people who are reading their book, which is accurate in Muhammad days. You see, let's use a little bit logic here. I hate to do that because that is like a new vocabulary for most Muslims. They don't know what the word logic is. The word logic is use common sense. The word common sense is use the gift God Almighty gave to you when you look with your eyes and you use the brain behind the eyes in your head. Just use it. In the Quran, Allah tells us in Quran chapter 10, verse 94, that the Bible in Muhammad days, 600 years after Christ, was perfect. People are reading it. And Muhammad, whenever he doubted the Quran, he need to go to the Jewish people and ask them about Abraham and what is written in the book about Abraham. And if he have any doubt about anything about Isa, the Jesus of Muhammad, he go to the Christians and ask them about the things which is written in the gospel because it is there. It is a perfect word of Allah and no
Right.
one can change the word of Allah. You understand that? Now,
Yep.
here I'm reading in the Quran and remember in the book. What book? The Torah. I have today a Torah, the Genesis account, go back to Jesus' days. It's called the Dead Sea Scroll. That Dead Sea Scroll is 600 years before Muhammad was a gleam in his father's eye. He was not there.
Even older. Some of
We
those
have a
Dead Sea
book.
Scrolls go back, I think, 150, 200 BC now. And
Yeah,
they're older. In fact, there are other finds older than the Dead Sea Scrolls.
sure. But in the Dead Sea Scrolls, and I will go for Jesus' days, 600 years, not 750. I will go for 500 years. Let's make it an easy number. 500 years before Muhammad. In that, we don't read anything about what Muhammad is going to tell me right now about and remember. So when you talk about Abraham and remember, when you talk about Isa and remember, when you talk about Joseph and remember, I mean, we remember everything
So
in the Quran.
where are Muslims getting this information? Where are Muslims getting this? Because scholars are negligent. Academic scholars are negligent for not asking these questions, for not pressing the Muslim scholar to say, show me where you got this. Show me the
That's why
evidence.
we
Show me
ask
the...
this question here, Brother Lloyd. If we're just going to sit you and I here to read, here's what Ibn Kathir, here's what Jesus says, here's what Moses says, here's what Abraham says, thank you, goodbye.
It's
Then we'll
myth.
waste our time.
There is literally no evidence backing it up. There is nothing in history, nothing in archaeology. There are no textual sources. There's no corroborating evidence. Scholars are allowing this lie to perpetuate without challenging it, without questioning it. And of course, they will lie about the Bible. They will permit lying about the Bible. They will actively aid and abet lies about the Bible. However, of course, they don't want to interrupt the gravy train coming from Qatar. They don't want to potentially deal with a violent assault in the parking lot.
Yeah. Yes, indeed. Absolutely. Absolutely. So now go to
negligence.
42. Now we remember. Here, what
So
happened?
when he said to his father, "Oh, my father, why do you serve that which neither hears nor sees nor profits you anything? My father, surely indeed some knowledge came to me which has not come to you, so follow me. I will guide you a straight way. Do not serve Satan. Surely Satan was a rebel against the merciful. O my father, I fear lest a torment from the merciful touches you, so you will become a friend to Satan." Okay. He said, "Are you forsaking my gods, O Abraham? If you do not stop that, I will stone you and depart from me for a long time."
Whoa,
He said,
let's use some logic here. I'm going to stone you and depart from me for a long time. How long is that? A couple years, forever?
actually, there's a movie that explains it very well. They give a very clear definition of that term, where the very important character says, "Love you long time, $50." So you
What?
kind of $50, love you long time, which means that you then have an understanding of just how long time is. You can work out from that context. We get it.
But let's put some logic to our Muslim friends' mind, those who are watching it now. If Abraham's father will stone his son, he'll be gone forever.
A long time,
Not for a long
because
time, but forever. Okay. I just want to make
um,
sure people understand that.
so yeah, that's what long. If you die, you're gone for a long time. Long time. You're gone for a long time. Yeah, okay, fine. That's. Don't threaten me with a good time, but fine.
It's long. It's real long. I understand.
Yeah,
47, he said.
and peace be on you. See, Islam's a religion of peace. They will.
Man, he's so good with his father, man. Peace be on you.
Yeah, I will ask forgiveness for you from my Lord. Surely he was kind to me, and I will separate from you and what you call on, rather than from Allah, and I will call to my Lord. Perhaps I will not become miserable by calling to my Lord. That's good stuff. Don't be miserable by calling to. Okay, fine.
Then Allah perhaps there. Abraham also know perhaps. He knows
Perhaps.
that Allah is kind to him, but perhaps, you never know.
Yeah. So according to the previous verses, this was a friendly conversation between Abraham and his father. Abraham tried to correct his father concerning his false worship of his gods by saying, "For they do not listen and they do not see and do not benefit you anything. Statues don't do you any good." That's why this rock they have in the middle of the Kaaba, in the middle of the desert, that's what you should worship, because there's, instead of like statues, you need a rock stuck in
Because
the middle
because
in the
at
corner of.
least from that great rock you can receive forgiveness for your sin. Just don't forget, you don't kiss with a loud voice and you don't lick it. Just
Yeah, only Allah can forgive you, and that rock is obviously then Allah, because Allah is forgiving your sins.
but now you try to make people use logic, man. I think you're hurting their heart and mind and soul. But let's move on. According.
So according to the previous verses, this was a friendly conversation. See? So Abraham explained to his father that he has more knowledge than his father, and he desired to lead his father to the straight way. Abraham told his father if he continued to worship Satan, he would be tormented by Allah, the merciful. Abraham's father threatened Abraham by stating if Abraham did not cease from forsaking his gods, he would stone Abraham and leave him. Now that's strange, because if he stoned Abraham, he would be dead. And so, yeah, okay, he then leave his son. Then Abraham said to him, "Peace to you," and he added he would seek forgiveness for him. That sounds like a threat. That's like saying, "I'll be back."
Yeah, me too.
Is any of the story close to the true Genesis account? Of course not. I would be asking too much. Muhammad began his story by stating, "And remember in the book," as if Muhammad is reminded by his Allah as to how the story is written in the Bible. One will discover in Genesis 11:27 that no such conversation took place. They lived in Ur, then traveled together to the land of Canaan, and during their travel they stopped in Haran. While they were there, the father of Abraham, Terah, died at 205 years of age. There was no worship of idols or anything like the words of the Quran. All right, so Abraham and the fire.
Get me
So
some heat,
Muhammad,
man. It's too cold here in Missouri. Get me some fire. I need to get some heat. Please. Yeah.
yeah. So Abraham invents the story of the fire, which occurs as a result of the misunderstanding of the word Ur, meaning city, because Genesis 15:7 was mistranslated by the Jewish interpreter Jonathan, son of Azriel. So Jonathan translated the word as light into the Chaldean language as "I am the Lord who got you out from the light of the fire of the Chaldeans," instead of saying the city of the Chaldeans. So yeah, this is a long known. There's an issue here. There's definitely. So
Can you
he then
imagine
said
that
to him,
when you read entire fabricated story in the Quran, which came as a result of misunderstanding to one word? I mean, imagine with me. I'm not telling you a story and you add a little bit to it or take away from it. I can give you a wrong word. Ur. Is the word Ur here means fire or the word Ur means city? Like we say Ur Shalim, the city of Shalim, Ur Shalim. Did I say the fire of Shalim or the city of Shalim? Ur Shalim in
yeah,
Arabic, okay? How in the world Muhammad fall into that by listening to a wrong word and he fabricate a long story about it? MashaAllah. But we ended with few more poetry. Shalalala in the Quran. Yeah, yeah.
yeah.
Go ahead.
I have no idea what this person even said. First time. I would appreciate that you make sense, that you speak rationally and logically and stay on topic. And
Maybe, can you read it for me? Because if you read it, I maybe can understand what he says.
whom uses blood rituals, bounding bloodline identities, stolen demonic ties through Hashem, liars, imposted seas, bounding rituals.
Is that English?
It sounds like English, but I have no idea what he said.
Because it's not Arabic either. But that's only two language I know. So I don't
Yeah.
know. I do not know.
So, if you don't mind, I would appreciate not being distracting, and yeah, so bear that in mind. Okay, so, but also, wasn't it, which story was it as well where someone survives the fire? It wasn't Daniel in the lion's den, was it? There's another story where
Shadrach,
someone is.
Meshach, Abednego. Shadrach, Meshach, Abednego. The three young men who were taken to captivity from Israel to Babel during the years of Nebuchadnezzar. And that is a true biblical story. By the way, you know what's amazing, Lloyd? I'm glad you mentioned that. If you read that biblical story to some Muslims, they make fun of it. But if you read in the Quran, it is true. You know what I'm saying? It doesn't matter what you're reading. You know what I love to say? I would love to take a story in the Quran and I read it out loud and I would just lie and I tell the Muslim, let me tell you about something happened in the Bible here. It's in the Bible. And you read the Quran and they will tell you that's a lie.
Wow. Wow. That is, yeah, yeah. Yeah. So, right. So, of course, this is a mistranslation of I am the Lord who brought you out of Ur of the Chaldeans to give you this land to inherit it. So, Mo confuses Abraham's story with Gideon's story from Judges 6:22. It was Gideon, not
And
Abraham, who
concerning the
destroyed
breaking of the
Pharaoh's
ice. In that story, by the way, you got mixed stories from the Bible. We know that Judge Gideon is the one who destroys the idols, but he make in the Quran Muhammad destroys the story. But he get to the fire when destroy Abraham to the fire. That is the story of Shadrach, Meshach, Abednego. So imagine you can mix two in one. you know, my wife, she go buy shampoo for her hair, and then she have something it's called conditioner, and that is another can. And you after you wash your hair with shampoo and you rinse it, you use the conditioner and you rinse it again. Now Muhammad sometimes puts the shampoo and the conditioner together, so he mixed Gideon and Shadrach and Meshach Abednego together in Abraham.
Yeah, no, it
It's
sounds.
cheaper to it's
It's
cheaper to buy the shampoo and conditioner together than you buy them separate bottle.
the interesting thing is shampoo, shahada. It's so close. It's probably related.
Yeah, but it's different language. That's Arabic, that's English.
Maybe. Hey, hold on, I figured it out. It's the shahada poo.
You're killing me, Smalls.
So in Genesis 12, God called Abraham to leave his country, his people, and his father's household that he might go to the promised land. There was no mention of the fabricated story of Abraham being thrown in the fire as written in Quran 21:51. It is also mentioned in Quran 37. And they said, build a building for him. So they threw him into the hell. Yeah, that's what we do. Build a building. And like, what, we throw him in hell? So
But
they
it's
designed.
amazing. They will tell you the word building here actually meant a fire, because some poetry who does not speak Arabic, I guess, he used that in another poetry. That's why Allah used the same word in the Quran, because it makes sense to the Arab as the time of receiving the Quran, because they are familiar with the great poets who wrote the word building instead of fire.
Right.
The Muslim
And
always have great answers, man.
yeah, men do get 3 or 4 in 1 soap. I've got soap that you can use as a shampoo. You can use to wash your hair. You can use it as a degreaser to wash the dishes, to brush your teeth
And
with.
you
You
can
can also
also
use
use
it.
it to brush your teeth. You got the
Yeah,
same one.
yeah. You can use to clean oil from the car engine, and if you need to, you can put it in the tank to get a few extra miles if you run short of gas. So we are men are versatile like that. So so they threw him into the hell. So they desired a scheme against him. So he made them the lowest. And he said, surely I am going to my Lord. He will guide me.
Amen.
That that I read this and my
That's a
brain
good
just
prayer
goes
here.
to.
You know what? We can learn something from Abraham here. I'm going to my Lord. He will guide me. Okay.
Yeah, but it's true. This
What?
this is
Okay.
like a game of telephone. This is like random sentences stuck
Yeah, but
together.
but what if when Abraham went to his Lord decided to mislead him? Remember, Allah guide whom He will and mislead whom He will, lead
Yes,
astray.
how do
What
we
if
know he
Allah
wasn't
led
being
him
misled?
astray? What are you gonna do in that case?
Yep. So the portion concerning his burning can be found in Quran 21. And they said, burn him and help your gods if you were doing. Like, what are they even saying? We said, O fire, be cold and peace on Abraham. And they sought to lay a plot against him, but we made them the losers.
Peace, be cold and peace. Learn about it now. Go ahead, read for me, please.
So, a simple reading of these very simple verses will not bring any understanding of what took place in Abraham's life concerning him being thrown into the fire, but enough information Ibn Kathir to the rescue. Ibn Kathir has secret knowledge that he will share with us. Is that what's going to happen now?
Amen. Amen.
Is that what? So where does Ibn Kathir get his information? For
Don't
example,
ask, don't tell.
he stated they gathered many branches from many different places. And in fact, I know exactly where they got the branches from. They got it from the north, the south, the east, and the west. Yep. And for
Okay.
a long time, to the point that when a long time, remember, if you want to know
Yes,
how
it was
long,
at least, I guarantee, at least 9 or 10 months.
$50 worth.
Yep.
$50. We know from other sources that long time is $50 worth.
No, no,
So
you're
you
gonna
can kind
find
of,
out here. I mean, it will take a 9 months to birth a baby. Go ahead, read for me, bro.
yeah. And to the point that when some women got sick, they made a pledge to their gods that if they would be healed, they would carry branches to the fire. Yeah, so that can take a week or 2 or 3 or
No,
4.
no,
I mean,
no.
it's a while.
How about the women who would like to have a baby, and they pray to Allah? They said, "Oh Allah, if you give me a baby boy, I will birth." You don't notice it. They were praying to Allah. If you will give me a baby boy, I will carry wood for the fire of Abraham. And they got pregnant, and the baby is born, and behold, he have a private part of a boy. He's a
So they
boy. Now
burning a
she's pregnant.
guy who says believe in Allah because you shouldn't believe in statues or stars or whatever it is, and they're telling Allah, "Hey, we're gonna burn this guy for you." Okay, fine, yeah, it makes perfect sense. So they gathered all these branches in a deep hole and they burned them, and the fire became so large it was unlike anything ever seen before. I know a guy who had invisible parents, and they looked like nothing you've ever seen before. So yeah, then they put Abraham into a catapult.
You have to fly him, man.
No, no, make it stop. Make it stop.
Watch.
And the catapult was built by a Kurdish man called Hazan, the
Hey, they
creator
know
of the
the name of the guy who built the catapult. Man, it must be true. Now we got enough source, enough information, enough evidence. You cannot deny it, Mr. Lloyd.
No, no, exactly. It's the details are there. It's Hazan. He built a catapult, and the creator of the catapult, and Allah cursed Hazan for what he had done and sank
Oh,
him
my
to
world.
the earth. Yeah, true story. In
Yeah.
fact, the Muslim scholars say he's still sinking down in the bottom of the seventh earth even to this day. I
He
Yeah.
must be going, listen, he must be going so slow.
So yeah, I mean, yeah, he's still so guys, the catapult story and Islam is
Maybe
adding
listen. If do you think something is gonna come out of China? I mean, or I don't know where he started.
yeah.
If depend where he started, we know where he's gonna come out from the other, but you never know. We'll see.
So what did they shoot Abraham at? I have no idea. I mean, seriously, this is true. Islam is Satan mocking the Bible, make it seem like a joke. Exactly, it's a caricature of Christianity. It's a caricature of religion, a caricature, depending on how you pronounce it. I mean, yeah, that's why Muslims leave and become atheists because they go, "This is stupid." When they really ever look, they go, "This is stupid," and they assume
But
that
my heart,
everything
yeah,
else is as dumb.
but my heart desire is for Muslims who are listening to us, don't mock your Quran and become an atheist, because then the devil still win. He still win again. Because guess what? It makes no difference to the devil if you're an atheist or if you're a Muslim. If you're a Buddhist or agnostic, it make a big difference if you're a Christian. So what we'll encourage you is go back to the Bible. Read the Genesis account. There's only a few chapters in the book of Genesis, and you will know everything you want to know about Abraham. And none of this nonsense, none of this myth is written anywhere in the Bible, period. That's why when Allah said, remember in the book, I say, what book? What book?
Wow. I mean, why have academic scholars not taken this apart and laughed at it? I mean, they'll attack the Bible, they'll make up the most egregious falsehoods about
They
the Bible,
can't.
and yet,
Brother, they can't. I can make fun of Jesus all day long and nobody will touch me even from 1,000 miles. But I will say a word against Allah or Muhammad on the Quran, and there is a knife in my chest or a neck separated from the body by a sword. I mean, are you kidding me? What American, what Western will even question the Quran or the interpretation of the Quran by so-called Muslim scholars. These are the same people who make fun of the Bible and Christianity. They're the same people who call us Islamophobe.
Yeah, cowards, cowards. Someone mentioned South African Muslims making the most noise on Facebook, and I agree with you that that is definitely something I have seen myself. Ask them if they want to come on my channel and talk about the Sharia. If they just want to have an open, public stream where we show the Sharia on the screen and we just go through all of the rulings on jihad, on child marriage, on obligatory lying, on slander, on all of these topics that Muslims claim we are just making up myths about that are all just right-wing conspiracies about Islam. And let's read what the Sharia says and see if they're willing to have that conversation. And they don't have to be experts. They just have to give me their reaction to what we're reading. Ask them if they have those little round things that in their little panties. Ask them if they have those, if they're willing to do that with me, because they're inevitably saying no.
Yeah, defend Allah. Help Allah, oh Muslim, help Allah. He needed your help now more than ever. Go ahead, bro.
Yeah. So when they were tying Abraham, he said, "To you the praise and to you the kingdom, no partner with you." So they put him into a catapult and they threw him into the fire. What? They put him in a catapult and threw him in the catapult dropped him in the fire? Or how does this work?
No. The catapult, you know what the catapult is? Is the equipment used in the war years ago. You pull it down, and you put a fire or rock in it. And
now I get it.
So they put Abraham in the catapult because it was so hot. Remember, this is a fire for at least a year. I'm not kidding you. Some of the women got pregnant and they have the baby boy. So you're talking about 9-10 months gathering wood in a deep hole. It was so hot that they could not. The only way they can throw Abraham into the fire is to have to put him in this catapult. Otherwise, it's impossible. How are you're gonna ask him to walk to
it? You're right. You're right. So yeah, the catapult solution was
I feel the truth of the story now. I'm faded out. Go ahead, keep
reading. You're good. So he says, "Allah, you are our judge and you are our counselor." And Abu Hurairah said that Muhammad said that when Abraham was thrown into the fire, he said, "Our God, you are one in heaven and I am one on earth serving you." Met Abraham in the air. Oh yeah, for sure.
Wait. Now he left the catapult, okay, and he's flying to the fire. I mean, he's moving close to the fire, and then Angel Jibril came. Hey, assalamu alaikum. How are you doing, man? Hey, they start talking with each other because he forgot about the fire. He's meeting with Angel Gabriel, as you said. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
He said, "As-salami and bacon." And the angel gibberish said,
"That person now going to the fire." Now Abraham is going with. Listen, Abraham is going with Gabriel together. Jibril and Abraham flying towards the fire. Go ahead. Are you watching?
I'm sorry, but
use imagination.
The story is stupid on the face of it.
You know what, brother? I wish we started with the Shanana. If we started with Shanana, you will never say that.
You know what? You know what? We may as well start with the banana because
I already had one banana this morning. I don't have any desire to eat any more banana today. One banana is good enough.
And Gabriel asked him, the angel gibberish, "Do you have any needs?" And Abe,
what do you need, Abraham? How about a cup of coffee?
And AB baby said, "None, thank you. I'm good right now." Ibn Abbas said, "The angel of rain was made to say, 'When will I be commanded to send the rain?' And the command of Allah was, 'Hurry.'"
Oh, quickly! Abraham is about to touch.
And in Quran 21:69, "O fire, be cold and peace on Abraham." Ibn Abbas stated, "If Allah did not say, 'and peace on Abraham,' the coldness of the fire would have harmed him."
Notice now, imagine Allah say, "Be cold." And here we go, Abraham go to a 25, minus 25, minus 30. You know what happened when you go to a cold water? What happened to your body?
This is, we're live on air. Me and the angel gibberish. And it's like, yeah, exactly. Conversation on air. It's Yeah. You know, Lydia, we were talking about this, Osama and myself, is you are misrepresenting out of context. You don't understand Quran. And when I present the Sharia, then of course they say that's not a, show me the Quran, show me
That's your
whatever. There's
personal
all
opinion.
excuses. It's all they have. Dunces wrote this stuff. Amen. So Kabul Akbar said none of the people of the earth benefited from fire on that day. Fire didn't work on that day. And nothing was burned of him except the ropes which bound him. Didn't the guy like fall and smack his head against a rock or something after being shot out of a catapult? Al-Dahak said that the angel gibberish was there with him, wiping off his sweat, which was the only consequence of the fire. Al-Saudi,
It was so hot. He was sweating, man. It's like, you know what? You get a napkin. Wait a minute. I have a napkin. Here it is. You get the napkin.
You know what, Usama? You need to make the picture Quran. You need to create now the picture Quran.
Man, that'll be the best seller for the rest of the world. Nobody can compete with me.
You can make AI pictures of Abraham sipping a cup of tea while he...
I'll be making billions. I'll be making trillions. I will go ahead, help America pay their 36 trillion debt off just as a gift.
Yeah, and Artsy Farsi says she hates when her fire is cold. I mean, yeah, look, things were different in Arabia back then. Fire was much colder.
This sister. That's why Allah said, and peace. Not be cold, but also be peace. Otherwise, he will freeze to death in the fire. Go ahead.
Yeah. And the angel of shadow was also with Abraham. Abu Huraira said that the best word the father of Abraham said when he saw his son in the fire in such condition was, "Blessed is the Lord, your Lord, O Abraham." So look, I mean, we know they got this from the guy that saw it. So he told a guy called Mickey, and Mickey told Jimmy, and Jimmy told
But can you imagine? We know for sure that Abraham daddy is buried in Haran at the age of 205, and none of that happened. And we know the angel of the rain, the angel of the shadow, the angel of this, and the angel of that. I mean, it got big. It got big, man. I did not know there's an angel I know there's an angel who leads the clouds so it will rain in the right place. Are you talking about that to be the angel of the rain, or is that a separate angel? I'm getting confused, man. I'm trying to understand, and I need some help. Where are the Muslims? Shouldn't we have some Muslim to guide us to Islam right now?
Well, you know,
I'm tired of these garbage Muslims who are talking about da'wah, but they never come to help us with da'wah, brother.
No, I'm thinking if we make a picture Quran, it will show people the miracle, and then they'll be convinced.
Okay,
because there's more to the story. But wait, there's more.
Oh, I know.
For instance, Ibn Asakir said that Akrama said that the mother of Abraham saw Abraham and called to him, and she said, "My son, I desire to come to you, so call on your Lord to spare me from the heat of the fire which is around you." So Abraham said, yes. So she came to him, and no harm came to her from the heat of the fire. And she hugged him, she kissed him, and left. Scholars disagree on the length of time that the mother of Abraham spent with her son in the fire, but she could have stayed for 40 or 50 days.
Did she have dinner, lunch, breakfast? Did she have hot tea? I mean,
he was fired a long way in the cannon, and they're a little unclear on the details of whether he was, when the cannon shot him out of the cannon or the sling or whatever the heck, that he took 50 days to come down. So he was doing like the first orbit of the Earth.
But brother, you're disregarding my question, Lloyd. You talk like a good scholar of Islam. When she went, did she have coffee with him? Did she have a hot tea? Did she eat? I mean, can you spend a week without eating? Was it a fasting for Ramadan?
Look, first of all, the reason that they used the catapult was because he had a supply of ham, and he was going to go up to take ham to Allah.
Oh, so he already had the food with him.
Yeah, but then the problem is that he forgot to take beer. So his mother came along, and she had to take beer. So it's kind of like it's a very Islamic thing.
And if you think we're finished, we're not finished yet, because we're going to learn about the love of Muhammad to Abraham in action years later. You talk about 2,400 years later, but let's read about more. Go ahead.
Yeah, no. So I mean, sleeping. It's like I can see Muhammad. Actually, Abraham wrote a book, and we have a copy here. But it's a we Abraham wrote a book that we believe in. Now we don't have a copy of it, but it's a real book. We believe in it. It was called. It was on
Sahab
fire.
Ibrahim.
My bed was on fire when I laid down on it, and then he slept in
Sahab
it for
Ibrahim.
50 days.
Abraham wrote it. It's in the Suhaf. It's in the pages of Abraham. I mean,
Yeah, it's
scholars disagree how big is that book, but it is there.
the Book of the Sofa, chapter 12, and it's about the burning sofa.
I can't
Abraham
remember
comes out of the
numbers.
burning sofa because he needed to sleep and sit somewhere with his mother while having. So there's guys. I mean, this is good stuff. Bukhari said that the Apostle of Allah, Muhammad, commanded the Muslims to kill the salamanders because they were the
See,
only.
I told you, Muhammad loved Abraham. You're not listening to me, man.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
The salamanders breathe on the fire to accelerate it. And I mean, this is known because, for instance, like when I want to light a candle, I use a salamander. You know, I shake the thing and then they're like little dragons. Don't you guys use them? Usama, don't you use salamanders to light the flame?
All the time.
Your
I
gas
use
stove?
it here. Yep.
If you don't have one, you just get a salamander and like slap it against the plate.
But imagine with me, the fire was so hot as this creature will go close to the fire and they go like this. Listen. And the fire get hotter and hotter. But don't forget, Allah said, be cold and peace. So it did not work. They tried their best, but Allah said, be cold and peace. Go ahead, man.
Yeah. So instead of a bellows, artsy fartsy nerdy Woody has lizards. I mean, she's from a very primitive part of America where they look. One day, if all goes well, one day. I mean, luckily here in Poland, which is like there's white people here, so they've got technology. They have things like this, and you can push this button, a flame
Oh
comes
my
out.
world!
Yeah,
What
yeah,
is
yeah.
that? What? Do it again.
But
do
now
it
I know
again.
if I have a salamander, I can make the flame bigger.
Do it again. Do it again. Can you start from the beginning?
I push the button. There's a button here, and I push it,
Yeah.
and
Oh my world! That
Oh,
is
yeah.
like wow. You know how we start
no
fire where I come from?
salamanders needed.
You know how we start the fire where I come from? I have to get a rock and until start the small smoke
yeah,
and start the fire.
No, it's like Usama. We're from Africa. We know how hard it is to get some fire going, and then I mean, but yeah, if you just move to like
That's
places
a
where
high
there's,
tech, man. This is like wow. How much this thing cost?
I'll send you one. This is like $1.50. I'll send you one.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it. Wow!
Nope.
Watch your face. Your face is gonna burn, man. You're too close to your eyes. You're killing me, man.
No salamanders needed, man. I mean, like
Muhammad.
no salamanders were harmed in the making of this episode.
Tell me about Muhammad more, man. I'm tired of your fire. I don't think you're gonna send me one. You're lying. I'd love to have one of these things, but that's okay. It's okay,
Yeah,
man.
salamanders had to be killed because they were the only animals who were breathing on the fire to accelerate.
If you send me one of these fire thing you have in your hand, can you send me one of these salamanders you're talking about?
Look, I mean, Trump is probably going to put me in jail for sending salamanders. He'll send me to Gitmo for sending salamanders live through the mail. So I don't know if he allows sending of. But look, I'll get you one on Amazon. I'll get you something. I'm sure I can find it there. Okay, I'll send you. So
Thank you.
Muhammad
so much.
also stated that all the animals were putting the fire out except for the salamanders, and this is a known problem. And look what happened in California. Look what happened in Hawaii. It was the salamanders that stopped the wind, that stopped the fire from going out. I mean, the firemen.
The liberals do not want to kill the salamanders, and we ended with a fire. Hello, logic.
Yeah.
Can't you learn from Abraham? See, if the liberals were Muslims, they would never allow the salamander to exist in California right now.
So yeah, so there are questions. How did Abraham get out of the fire? How the heck did his mom get into the fire? Did anyone believe him afterwards? When did this take place? Why did his father not believe in Allah afterwards? Yeah, like 50 days of fire. I mean, like living in the. This is like, yeah. Is this true story? Look, I'm gonna have to disagree with you here because I mean we've learned now about salamanders. about his mom joining him for 50 days in the
But
fire.
see, excuse me, sir. Excuse me. When I wrote that book, that was 15, 16 years ago. I did not know that. So in my next edition, I will add, obviously, we know what the answer is. You see the empty space below that?
Salamander science.
I will put it there. People do editing to their books all the
Mm.
time. Hello. I'm not the first one to edit my books. The more you know, the better you write down. Okay? I'm going to put it
Yeah,
down.
no, so we need to, California needs to ban salamanders right now to prevent the next massive salamander related fire.
Brother, to be honest with you, I cannot take anymore. Can we stop here? I beg you, please. I mean, unless you want to go for another hour. I mean, I'm
No,
really
no. The rocks do talk, as we've learned. The trees walk, and salamanders breathe fire. And yeah, look, Allah. Yeah, this is. So the other animals put the fires out, like fire. Yeah, I don't know what. We need to find those animals and send them to California. That's the animals we need in California for
Hey,
sure.
you know what? Let me explain to you about the other animals because this bats, the one Muhammad destroyed the salamander, whatever you want to call it. It's actually we call it in Arabic sahali. But anyway, see what happened is the other creatures, the other birds, they will put water in their beak. Like, look, I show you. I show. Look, watch me. Lloyd, are you looking at me? Look.
Oh, whoa, no.
Seriously, listen. That's what all the birds used to do. So they go all the way, fly above the fire, and drop water. And so they were putting the fire off. And the angel of the rain was behind. He was busy. I remember because it was so hot and he forgot to show up. And the birds and all the other creatures were carrying water and they
Yeah, no.
slowly drop it. That's why. But the only weird is this the salamanders, whatever you call it, Sahali.
So,
The curse of Allah be on them. Do you know that they're still sinking in the ground with the guy who built the caterpillar? They're all going under the ground right now, slowly.
yeah, no, he's thinking. So yeah, look, guys, at least look priorities. We need to think. California had its priorities, okay? So maybe the hydrants didn't have water, maybe the dams had no water, maybe they sent all of their firefighting vehicles to Ukraine, but at least the police and the firefighters would pay.
Listen,
Priorities.
if the liberals of California know that the salamander will cause more fire, they will bring them from the whole world and they will put them in California. They love
Yeah.
to burn the country, man. They love to burn it so badly that they can. If they can burn the rest of America, they will. Imagine having the governor of California to be the president of the United States of America. No more water in hoses, and we'll save every piece of water to some place, but not to the homes, and we burn all America.
Yep. So guys, I think we've learned a lot about salamander science. We've learned a few things that, and you're not going to learn this in the Bible, okay? Remember, you learned it here from the
Bible,
Quran.
yeah. That's why you need the
Bible. It doesn't have salamander science and the science of fire and the 40 days and 50 nights in the fire with Abraham and his mom who came and hugged him. And
and she spent really quality but first of all, she asked if Allah will allow her to come in because what if Allah said no and she get hot and burned? So obviously we know from the true teaching that Abraham did. He asked. First, Abraham asked Angel Gibrish, and Angel Gibrish went to Allah and he said, "Yep, she can come in." So when Angel Gibrish came back to Abraham said, "Okay, Mama, come on in." I remember that it was like in the afternoon, but she was in, and so she visited. As we said, scholars disagree. We do not know how long, but she left. I mean, she visited and she left. We know for sure.
Where did the catapult come down?
What?
Where did the fireball come down?
Well, that is a part which Allah does not want us to know. See, listen. If Allah wants us to know, He would have easily put it in the Quran. But since Allah does not want us to know, then why even talk about it?
I mean, this is beyond biology. This is Quranic science, and we didn't even get to the number 19 yet. I mean, this is just incredible. This is Islamic wisdom. Yes, Islamic wisdom.
Listen, if you want to know everything about Abraham, you got it. It is in the book. It's the Quran. But I want you to do me a favor. Can you open Genesis account if you don't mind?
Genesis in your which book?
The book of Genesis. That's in the Bible.
Okay, so I thought you might want to go to your book. So
No. Genesis. It's a book in the Bible. As a matter of fact, it's
I
the
know
first.
that, but I thought you wanted to hang on. Geez, hold on. I thought you wanted me to go to your, you know, that you were referring to a chapter in your book where you were
No,
discussing that.
I'm
So
just giving you a hard time.
Genesis, the book of Genesis. Yes, how can I help you?
Genesis. Okay, start from chapter 11, verse 10. I want to give my Muslim friends a taste of the details of the Bible. A
Okay.
taste of if I ask you, Lloyd, listen to me, brother. If I ask you a simple question, who's Abraham? Do you think you can answer that for me? From the Quran, who's Abraham? What
He
answer
was
do you
a
think?
guy that was shot out of a cannon that was on fire, and his mom came to visit him, and he tried to worship
And
the sun, the moon, and the planets, and
yeah.
then he
And then his father tell him, I'm gonna stone you, and you'll be a way,
and leave
way
you alone, and
a
then
long time. You're gonna be far away from me for a long time. And we know, okay, how about just I'm gonna ask you to read few verses to know where did Abraham came from, his family. You know that I can tie Adam to Jesus in the Bible?
well,
That is a
thank
real
you.
genealogy now. We're not making it up. So, for example, let's talk about Abraham in 11:10. Go ahead.
Yeah, just thank you to Anton Bala. Really appreciate that donation. That was very kind. Casey the cat. That would be off topic for this, the Satanic verses. I'm sure I've discussed it elsewhere, but I have several episodes on the whole discussion around child marriage and consummation of, let's say, with kids, with infants. You will find that on my channel under the Sharia stuff. You can search for that.
It is sick.
So
It is sick.
yeah,
If you
I have
see,
detailed stuff. So I don't
I
really want to
get
get off topic now.
I get stroke attack, man. I get heart attack when Muslims talk about the word morality and Islam in one verse or one sentence.
Yeah,
It is like you
I
have to
mean,
be kidding.
they'll just lie to you and block you and get upset because they can't defend Islam.
I
They
think that's
don't
the
like.
only ways they can cause people like me to die. If they're not gonna get me with a bullet or a knife or a sword, they have to keep these lies up, and they're gonna cause me. My blood pressure normally go around 340, 360. The high is now is at 600. So the doctor told me, stop doing this ministry. You're gonna die. Muslims
Yeah.
are gonna kill you with high blood pressure. All right, let's read
Let's
what the
just
Genesis.
these are the generations of Shem. Shem was 100 years old. He begat Arphaxad 2 years after the flood. Shem lived after he begat Arphaxad 500 years, and he had sons and daughters. And Arphaxad lived 530 years and begat Salah. Arphaxad lived after he begat Salah 403 years and begat sons and daughters. And do I have to go through all of this?
Well,
Or
I want to show my Muslim friends where Abraham come from. And I know we escape these things,
yeah,
but can you imagine the details of we know who is the father of who, the son of who, the grandson of who,
yeah,
and
the
so
whole
on?
genealogy is
Until you
here.
get, okay, now let's go to Terah. Okay,
And
26.
Nahor lived 9 and 20 years and begat Terah.
Yeah.
Nahor lived after he begat Terah 119 years and begat sons and daughters. And Terah lived 70 years and had Abraham, Nahor, and Haran. And these are the generations of Terah. Terah begat Abraham, Nahor, and Haran begat Lot.
So now
Haran
we
died.
know from 1127, we know the relationship between Abraham and Lot. Lot is his nephew. So Lot they call him Uncle Abraham. In the Quran, you could never. Let me say
Never would
the
know.
chance for you to tell me who is Abraham and who is Lot in relationship to Abraham is you don't know. You have no idea.
Yeah.
Keep going.
Abraham and Nahor took wives. The name of Abraham's wife was Sarai, and the name of Nahor's wife Milcah, the daughter of Haran, the father of Milcah and the father of Iscah. But Sarai was barren; she had no child. And Terah took Abraham his son, and Lot the son of Haran, his son's son, and Sarai his daughter-in-law, his son Abraham's wife, and they went forth with them from Ur of the Chaldees to go into the land of Canaan. And they came unto Haran and dwelt there. And the days of Terah were 205 years, and Terah died in Haran.
Notice they were going to the land of Canaan. God called Abraham to go to the land of Canaan. He's going with his father and his brother and his nephew and his wife, and obviously we know Lot have his own wife too. I mean, here is the details. We know where Abraham comes. Let's go to the next chapter if you don't mind. Next chapter, brother. Chapter
I'll
12.
go to the next chapter. Abraham's journey to Egypt. Now the Lord said unto Abraham, Get thee out of thy country, and from thy kindred, and from thy father's house, to land I will show thee. And I will make of thee a great nation, and I will bless thee, and make thy name great, and thou shalt be a blessing. Oddly enough, if you read the Sirah, this blessing is applied to Muhammad.
I know.
They ascribe this to Muhammad. And I
Sure.
will bless them that bless thee, and curse him that curse thee. And in thee shall all families of the earth be blessed. So Abraham departed as the
Look
Lord
at
had
now.
spoken to him.
The whole earth will be blessed through Abraham, through his seed. The Apostle Paul write about it, singular seed. That is Jesus Christ. The whole purpose, listen to me, my dear friends, Christians, Muslims alike, the whole purpose why God called Abraham to leave Iraq and to go to the land of Canaan is to set a nation, to set a people group who are called the Jewish people, those who will be the only people on earth to worship the true God from Abraham days until Christ come in the flesh. And that's why we have the genealogy all the way from Abraham to Jesus. And through Jesus Christ, the whole earth will be blessed by receiving the forgiveness of our sin. That is when Jesus died on the cross and he was buried and rose again. And the prophecies of the Old Testament about that day, the resurrection day of Jesus, is written throughout the Old Testament. Christianity is not something we made up in the 2,000 years ago. It is actually started with that promise to Abraham, the unconditional covenant God made with Abraham, that he will bless the whole nation, the whole earth will be blessed through Abraham's seed, singular seed. That is our Lord and our Savior Jesus Christ. If Muslims cannot understand that, they will continue to worship Allah and believe in Muhammad and believe in the fairy tales of the Quran and believe the greater fairy tale in the interpretation of so-called Muslim scholars, and they will miss the point. Abraham is not about the nonsense we talked about today or the next few weeks as we continue to talk about Abraham. Abraham is about a covenant made with that man that he will be blessed, and through him the whole world will be blessed. God took Abraham out of Iraq to put him in Canaan to raise the Jewish nation, and through the Jewish nation who will worship the true God, the God of the Bible, then the Christ will come and he will die on the cross to rise from the dead, to save all the earth, and that's how we can receive forgiveness for our sins. This is Abraham, not the Abraham of the Quran. The Abraham of that book here, it is my favorite song, which I used to sing years ago. I used to watch with my son these Veggie Tales, and in the Veggie Tales, where you see cucumber and tomato and zucchini and all these vegetables, tells the stories of the Bible. It goes like this: Veggie Tales, Veggie Tales. Now I get, wow, fairy tales, fairy tales, fairy tales, fairy tales. The Quran is a fairy tale. And if you follow the Quran about Abraham and every other name, as we have seen so far in the previous 5 chapters, as we're going to see in the next 34 more chapters, 35 more chapters, it's a fairy tale. You're missing the point. The Bible did not talk about Abraham to give us some fairy tale like we read in the Quran. It's talking about a covenant made with that man. And if you're missing it with Abraham and Isaac and Jacob, and then the 12 sons of Jacob, and you get to the tribe of Judah, and from the tribe of Judah, Jesus Christ is born. If you miss that, I don't know why we even read the Bible. What is the purpose? And that is what happened in that book. We missed all the truths about Adam, about Abraham, and about the rest of the biblical
It's
teaching.
a cheap fake. It's a cheap substitute.
It's dumb.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. Yeah, so I am back. So yeah, okay, yeah. So don't let them know about Cinderella. So don't show them pictures of pumpkins.
We're
Okay,
not going to do
because they'll
that.
get ideas. They'll get ideas.
Wait a minute. We're not going to talk about that.
No, because you don't want Muhammad to get ideas if you show him a pumpkin.
Then the Quran get bigger and bigger, huh?
And it's gonna get pulled by mice.
Oh, my world. Are you serious? Hey,
Um,
we got more than that. Wait until we get to, there's so many stories, by the way. If we cover everything, that study will go forever. That study
yeah,
will go forever.
well, I don't think my brain can hold out that long.
Can't take any more than that. That is a good
Yeah.
level. We just keep it that way. Hopefully, we can finish these 2 volume
Yeah.
books without losing our brain, and then God help us. Yeah, you're right.
So final word, Casey. Yeah, look, once you learn about Islam, once you understand it, it's shocking. It was for all of us. I think all of us were devastated by just understanding the depravity, the lies. And look, you're just gonna have to. You'll get through it. Just be
But
patient.
here's
You'll
the
get.
fact, Lord, most Muslims, when I say most Muslims, I'm talking about 90% of Muslims or even more, do not know, they don't have an idea about the things we share in this podcast or anything else we talk about in all these people who are doing a great ministry online. I'm thankful. Years ago, it used to be few people speaking the Arabic language. Now we got plenty of people, and we just need more and more of people to speak the truth about Islam that we can be set free. What is that? Is this Alexander
That
the Great?
that is a Polish hussar. Those are the Polish hussars. They were heavy cavalry. So they defeated the Muslims at the Battle of Vienna in 1683. They were the greatest, finest cavalry to ever exist. These guys.
Yeah, you
So
told me about it before,
just
but
just
I
think
can't
about
remember.
them. Think of your history. Get inspired by these guys. Just look up the song "When the Winged Hussars Arrived." Right, these guys. So that's who. Yeah, I think we all need to be inspired by our ancestors.
Yeah.
They they were willing to take the fight to the bad guys and win. They smashed.
And by the way, it is more of a spiritual fight, a physical fight. I think the only way the world can win the war against Islam is to speak the truth, set the people free through Jesus Christ, or kill the last Muslim, which will never happen. I mean, I know these people you talk about, they have a fight in a battle and they won, but the Muslims are everywhere else. The Muslims are everywhere else. So the best way, I believe, to win that war, the spiritual warfare against Islam, it is to educate the Muslim people. So we got a broadcast today. It's a funny one.
Yeah, but we also need to have the spirits of our ancestors, of the warriors who stood up for their beliefs. I mean, we also need to find our courage.
Amen. That's true. But for this broadcast, my heart desire is for each and everyone who watched, or they are those who already seen what we have done so far today, like us. Share that program with somebody else. How do you think that people will know unless somebody tells them? How do you think the Muslim will know about Islam until somebody tells them? Maybe if we just share that broadcast with all our friends and all those who hate us, our enemies, and give the story a little bit a bigger circle, maybe we can make a big dent in this belief of Abraham and Islam.
Yeah,
Amen.
man. Thank you. That's been fascinating, and that's fascinating. I guess is one way to describe it.
I
Hysterically
don't know.
stupid.
Why can you lie? Why do you lie, man? Why you say fascinating? Don't you consider that's a lie?
It was mind-numbingly depressing and completely
Okay,
hysterically
say the
stupid at the
truth.
same time.
What a great mind, blah, 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 depressing thing, Just tell the
Yeah.
truth.
Yeah. So, guys, thank you very much for joining us. Tomorrow, I'm going to be on with a poet called Mats Valtre, well known in Sweden, and we're going to be talking about Islam and Sweden because things are not well in Sweden, and yeah, let's see how that goes because I think it's hard for people to tell the truth, but he's someone who's willing to speak up, and
Amen.
yeah, so yeah, we will see everyone tomorrow, and Usama, we will, yeah, we'll be back here, so to look, if we didn't laugh at the Quran, we would end up crying. Okay. So yeah, good night, everyone. Take care.
Good
God bless.
night. Thanks a lot. Appreciate it, brother.
Bye.
Good night, everybody.